Important.
Michael, my brother.
How's it going?
Yeah,
It's good.
you got the youth thing going on. I know a million people tell you this, but I'm going to tell you again anyway. Cherish these times, because when they're gone, it's just like my kids are 16 and 11 now, and I'm just like, shit. I remember when I used to be able to just pick you up and put you places.
Yeah, she's running the show for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is kind of amazing. I do appreciate it, and she is at that point where she's aging so quickly that, you know, from day to day, you're like, wow, yesterday was
different.
Yesterday is gone.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. Mike, do me a favor. Introduce yourself. Say what you do, where you are for the listeners at home.
Well, I'm Michael, and what I do, I'm mostly Lauren's brother.
It's a full-time occupation. You've been doing that your whole life.
I finally got this.
Yeah. I've been doing, I've been a writer for a long time. I was a journalist for a while. And then I got into, I guess, advertising or marketing or whatever you want to call it.
Say marketing.
Persuasion. I say persuasion, so.
I know. We talked a little bit about that, and I was so fucking drunk at the time. But it was a good conversation, as I recall. There was a lot of laughs.
Yeah, it was good.
Lauren, do me a favor. Reintroduce yourself for the friends at home.
Hey, Lauren Altman here.
Yeah.
Aunt Larzi, a.k.a. Regional Managing Partner of Thunderdome Restaurant Group. I always say it very fast.
You do. It's because you've said it a lot. It's a mouthful in Manhattan, though.
Yes, and founder of the Thunderdome.
Yes, part of the. I mean, how many properties now?
You always ask me that. Well,
I know, and you never know.
Less than it was last time, unfortunately. But yeah, I would say around 30.
Okay. Now you said less. So you guys have closed properties?
We have not reopened every property yet.
I think she means fewer.
Fewer.
Right. That's definitely different than less.
Yes. Sorry. Fewer.
No, it is. It's legitimate, and that's the marketing coming out.
Love being corrected. Love it.
Well, again, you guys have worked together your whole lives.
I wouldn't say we worked together.
Well, that choice
we've worked together.
Right. Without a doubt. Well, I thank you both for being here. Lauren and Mike, your situation's kind of weird. You and I talked about this a little bit, and like I said, I was really drunk. But tell me a little bit about what you're doing now, because didn't you just launch a marketing company essentially just this last fall into winter?
So yeah, well, I was working with a couple of guys called C90. This is like homage to tapes and
right, yeah,
non-digital things,
right,
analog.
The TDK comp.
Yeah. So I worked on some really cool projects with them, but I've been doing Invisible Man for about 3 years.
Okay.
And so Invisible Man's really focused on creative brand, creative marketing, essentially. It's spawned from my career as like being able to kind of look at something and at least kind of sum it up.
Sure.
That's just kind of, I've made clients out of that. I've run restaurants out of that with Lauren's help. I've done a lot of things around that. This is the issue. And then, somebody else actually tells me how to do it. I forget they told me. I do it
and then
think it was
credit.
My idea. Yeah.
Right.
I think it was my idea.
Sure.
And I launched a week ago a campaign called PledgeOhio.
Okay. What's it about?
That my wife called me and she was like really freaked out about going to Kroger and nobody's wearing masks, and it's just like people just like whatever. And she was like, "Will you write the governor?" And I was just like, "Well, what's that gonna do?" So for some reason, like I was like, and I started thinking of this thing. I just started writing, and I was like, well, what can we? And I would just use my like marketing chops, I guess, or whatever I think they are anyway.
I like chops.
Well, so we can like, how do we capture people and then like move them into like the next stage, whatever that is. And so like, I just kind of wrote something, and then a councilman responded, and then I talked to my dad, and he had a really good idea. And then and so it was like what we call fast to market, it's just like, just
implement,
do it,
implement.
I mean, it still is no whatever, but like, we got it out, and the idea concept became, protect the health of the workers, the people that are working.
Sure.
And the ad is that Kim works at a restaurant. She has 2 small children at home. The more we protect her, the more we protect their kids. And
so you personified it, or is this actually someone you know specifically?
I mean, I know Kim, of course.
Right.
And her kids are affected, and they could be really badly affected if they can't see mom for a week, which is one of those things that you can't, or 2 weeks.
Right.
Which is a fear at our house because my wife's a doctor.
Right.
Who hasn't been peeled away from our daughter in the 3 years that she's been, for a day in the 3 years that she's been alive.
Which is pretty amazing, really.
Yeah. So, So anyway, but what we got a huge response in the last week. So it's been pretty cool. And the petition is,
right,
we're going to make a day called Pledge to Protect Our Workers in Ohio.
Right. And the petition is something that's going to be, that is being transmitted to lawmakers in the state, right? I mean,
yes,
that's
correct.
Because you did the, I signed the Facebook one that went out, and I shared it. Well, no, I mean, the thing is it's, to me, that kind of shit's like a no-brainer. It's just like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you might think you're strong as an ox, and you might think it's a Democratic hoax or whatever, but just out of basic consideration for your fellow human,
right?
Why wouldn't you? It's not as inconvenient. I mean, I don't like wearing the seatbelt in my car. I consider it less inconvenient than that. But that's really fucking cool. And you said that it's just, for some reason, like, probably like all of us, I have this issue with the way time's passing currently. It might have something to do with this too. But
yeah.
But it seems like it was longer ago than a week. You said this has been implemented and moving forward over the last week or so. I mean, what's the response been like? Has it been just?
Well, I mean, numbers wise, it's been, I couldn't believe it. We've reached well over 4,000 people all over the state.
Nice.
Had it like, marketing lingo. I mean, like 20% response, which is incredible.
That's great. Yeah.
20% of 4,000 people. Or actually, it's actually 6,000 in a week. So it's been good. And now it's kind of like, all right, a councilman's going to get involved, and they have somebody who is good at social media.
Can you name the council? Can you say which councilman's involved?
I don't want to yet.
Okay.
Just because I've said it before.
That's fine.
And it's not a big deal. But I just don't want to.
It's not like anybody watches this shit.
He's
anyway.
busy. Yeah, I know. But he's like, he's busy, and I just don't want to. I don't want to be like. I just want to be respectful of him.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Or her.
Oh, we got it narrowed down. Anyway, go.
So yeah, I mean, the idea. Look, I think it infuriates a lot of people. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of anger. And it's kind of like, well, how do we cut through this? Like, maybe we can make it about workers. I mean, like, it's not about workers, but it's a start.
Yeah, maybe make it about the people that you want to serve your food, or whatever the case might be. Your argument could be anything you want, but if your argument's ultimately let's get back to normal, then you have to have a little respect for the people you expect to make that happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's been that's the cool thing about, I think, whatever I've developed skill wise is like, this is just using it like that. Cause it was just like, I was here on a Sunday, I was power washing, and I was like,
wait, I'm sorry, what? Like a deck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not me.
By the way,
on Sundays I power wash.
I was power washing. Sorry. That's the first impression I got. It's like, I got a giant thing of Axe and a loofah.
Yeah, you can't wash off.
Wife had the hose.
And in between, I did that. So but it developed, and like these advertising guys like were like, oh, we'll do this, and I was like, oh yeah, right. Like, and then I'm like, I wish I had thought of that.
No, that's the beauty of the way the world works, man. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's
exactly.
got their part to play. Everybody's got their piece to
Exactly.
contribute, and I think it's awesome that you've been able to take, the skills you have. I mean, has business in general, I mean, been like kind of dead, or I mean, or have things moved forward? I mean, marketing people, there's a lot of behind doors kind of thing. I love the fact that companies is invisible man, because it's like the guy that whispers behind the, guy that whispers in the ear behind the guy. It's good. It's a good image for that kind of work. But
Thanks.
how's it been? I mean, has it died down? Have things stayed, or is everybody kind of in a holding pattern? How's it been?
Everybody's it's just everybody's unsure, and there's this
Right.
sense of like I mean, essentially I'm done with a client, like my major client, in 2 months, a little over a month.
Like a contractual time thing?
Yeah, like I'm getting paid for the next month, and
Right.
and the thing is, like, and you and I talked about it, it's like
I
at
don't
some
remember.
point I kind of realized, right, at some point I just realized that, like, I wasn't set, like I didn't want to run my own business for years, because I was like, well, I don't want to sell, because I don't want to put myself out there or whatever.
Right.
And at
Right.
some
I do
point I
remember
realized,
this.
like,
Sorry.
yeah, it's like, well, you're not selling, you're just kind of like just being who you are, and like just drilling it down, like, this is what that is.
Right.
And so I don't mind. I actually kind of like that, because ultimately it's like somebody says something and you're like, oh, well, I could see this on your wall, and they're like,
I know. Right?
yeah,
They're like, I wish I thought of that. You're like, oh, that's why they pay me.
yeah, right.
Without
So
a
yeah,
doubt.
so I'm working on that, but like, but I'm not, I can never be comfortable with like that, and I'm actually comfortable with that, is knowing that you're always kind of in this pattern where you're, the moment that you get a client is the moment you start losing them, and that's like silly, but it's true.
I mean, regardless of its factual content, it's definitely a motivator.
Yeah,
You know?
it's been my experience that it's like, it's pretty crazy. But I
Well,
mean, I've learned a lot from Lauren, actually, and as far as like
we're turning to her.
marketing
We're
and
gonna make her.
customer
We're gonna make her
service.
talk for 20 minutes straight here in a second. She says she's having caffeine. It's gonna switch before it's over. No, but it's, you actually touched on something that I've been dealing with my kids, and it's I don't know if it's an American attitude. It's all I know, so I call it an American attitude. But and I know it's the way it is in business too, especially for, like you said, for marketing businesses and for people that do those kinds of like creative endeavors for companies. It's the "what have you done for me lately" syndrome.
Yeah.
People don't remember the accomplishments of even 24 hours ago, much less 2 weeks, 2 months, or last year. It all comes down to what they can see in front of them that fucking day. And I wanted to throw that F-bomb in there to make sure everyone was comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Lauren,
I mean,
Lauren, you're on the front lines of this whole thing, and here in Ohio, you guys have been open since what date?
Why do you always ask me dates?
I'm sorry. They seem important to me. That's why I put them on the thing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So we did close down the Sunday. Last time we talked. The entire Thunderdome community closed down the Sunday that was ordered to whatever that was in April.
The 24th, I think. It was just a couple of days before we talked. It was Friday the 13th was D-Day to me, because that's when they announced the schools weren't going to reopen the following week. So I don't know if you guys got the 15th or if it was the 22nd.
The 15th sounds great.
Yeah, okay.
As a Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was Sunday, like we said, it was very quick, and I got the information the same time my staff did, same time the guests did, yeah. So we closed down. On Monday, the following day, I sat around a conference table with my ownership team, and the amount of tears that were there was unbelievable. And
oh, sure. I mean, you're talking about people's livelihoods and the business, yeah.
So we furloughed everybody in the company, including ownership, and then we sat for a moment. But obviously, ownership and I and a couple other people were talking regularly. I was talking to the team, and we were kind of, obviously very, very engaged. And then once we got these orders that we could reopen, potentially, we started talking about doing carryout. And so what happened was we had to change our business model completely.
Yeah, you and I talked about that a little bit about
the
pivot not necessarily being as easy as people imagine.
Yeah, well, the cost is insane. So
right.
We reopened a couple of our businesses, mostly in Cincinnati, to be carry out only. And so we we're using our dining rooms as an opportunity to make it very efficient with a few
Right.
people. And so we were doing that and passing things out the front door, kind of a couple restaurants. And then quickly it was told, hey, you can do some outdoor seating. And so I was like, okay, well, how are we going to do this? So we talked about it, and we decided to use Kruger's Tavern's rooftop patio as an extension of Bakersfield. Thank you for your shirt, by the way. If you could like sit up a little bit, that'd be great. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, Bakersfield, holler. So thank you. We did use, in the beginning, it feels like a year ago, but it was only a few weeks ago, the rooftop. My idea was let's do the rooftop of Kruger's Tavern, extension of Bakersfield, because we can't do all these businesses, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So then the city came through and they decided, hey, let's put some seating out front. So they gave us barriers and gave us a few tables outside, which was amazing. And
Right in the sidewalk.
Yeah. Which
Right.
I didn't think was going to work out, but actually works out very well. And so now that gave a few extra tables. So then we figured that all out. And then a few days later, it feels like then we got to open to limited capacity inside as well.
Sure. Now, were you guys given, because that's the way I understood it, is that the reopening, like a lot of people were freaking out. They're like, well, fuck, we're not open. Everyone's going to do this and do that, the other thing too. But there were some pretty strict guidelines about that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we met as a group and decided what our guidelines are going to be. We went.
Oh, you guys were just like, fuck, whatever. We're going to do it this way.
We're going to do it this way, in the right way. And so,
Right.
Before the real guidelines came out, we kind of anticipated what they were, and we were ahead of it, I believe. So, for instance, last weekend when you saw some not so favorable photos of other businesses,
Or the Ozarks.
Like, trust me, like I'm not. I was already standing outside of our business saying, if you don't have a seat, you can't eat, which rhymes, which is amazing.
Which is awesome. And did you put a beat? Did you put a beat to it?
I did.
People start giving you
I had
money?
a poncho on. It was raining. You know, it was like dancing. It was a whole thing. So I did hold the door, and I did say, you know, the first time I said it, I was like, well, this rhymes, so it's great. But I didn't realize it. So anyway, we really did control as best we could from the outside of the building, so that our team didn't have to deal with it on the inside of the building.
Well, sure. Well, that's the thing a lot of people I don't think are taking into account, is that restaurants aren't thinking just in terms of keeping the people that are there safe. They're thinking in terms of keeping their people safe, and, you know, limiting that exposure as well. And so how's it?
Go ahead.
No, after you.
We've been in masks, you know. Think about Bakersfield. You worked there for a little bit, right? Obviously.
That's why I have the shirt.
Right. You didn't get it on eBay.
I did, actually. I lost it. I lost that shirt in some drunken debauch at some place down the street. Some Sunday I was there for 9 hours and blacked out. And I got home Tuesday and I had different clothes.
I remember when I hired you, I was like, please don't make me fire you.
I didn't. I acquitted. I thought I acquitted myself well as the old man in the sea down there.
You were amazing. But remember back in the day, obviously it was, you know, elbow to elbow, and
yeah, no, it's not a big dining room.
It's very tiny.
And that's the thing, is part of and the Eagle, to a lesser extent, kind of the same thing. Part of the appeal is kind of the communal aspect of it. It's designed to be open and for you to interact with people that are, you know, it's not a lot of booths. It's, you know, open bars, it's picnic tables, and, you know, the idea is to kind of interact with other people there. So, you know, I mean, it's tough. I mean, so you guys got those 8-foot picnic tables out there. Are you saying 4 people here? I mean, is it like that? It is? Okay.
Yeah, I have 2 people there sometimes, most often. 2
at the table? I mean, it is what it is. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you the question that occurs to me more often than any. Because obviously we all understood that there was going to be this circumstance. These businesses have to be given an opportunity to survive, obviously, because apart from anything else, most of us want to have the opportunity to eat tacos or fried chicken. But at the same time, there's got to be some restrictions on it. And my thought process is there's got to be some businesses out there that the limited capacity isn't enough. It isn't enough to maintain. And you guys might be big enough that you can work with it at least for a time. But is there a finite? Right. Is there a? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Everyone says that. I mean, there wasn't a room full of money when we closed down. You know, everything. All the money that's what I always think. Like we always joke, like the Scrooge McDuck. There was no like.
You guys weren't right. Yeah. So it wasn't like you could just close down indefinitely, pay everybody, go to Tahiti in July, and then think about reopening on July 4th, kind of thing. Yeah.
So it truly, it was scary, and all the money that was the profitable money, I guess, however you say it, was in production to open other restaurants. So there are some projects that are on hold for now.
Right. New properties.
And old properties and things.
Old property. Okay.
Everything is reopening at once. We are doing everything we can to pay a close attention to the guests and our team and everything, all of it. But one thing that we're opening up more than we ever have is the carryout stream.
Sure. Right.
And so as we've opened these dining rooms back, we've really, it's been such a weird time of like, okay, cool, we have this dining room, and then tomorrow we don't have this dining room to use, and then now we have to do this hybrid, and then we have to go back, and then we go back to what we normally do, but we do it in like this. It's just every day is a different animal. I'm using proper language because I want to say bad words, but
say whatever you want. Like I said, nobody watches this fucking shit anyway. Say whatever you want.
And the thinking outside the box is constant, right? Which I love that part of like,
yeah, and you're good at it.
How can we do this? But then it's like, okay, now we have to make this a systematic approach on a daily basis, so that every day is not like being punched in the face. Okay, so we're working through that, and we are doing what Michael was speaking about earlier. My team, they're all in masks. We have done the social distancing on our end. As a guest, you don't have to walk in with a mask because of the social distancing we've done. So like, and then people aren't super comfortable, and it's we're trying to make them as comfortable as possible. And we don't.
Did you say you feel people aren't?
Not everybody is. Some are like, yay, we're so happy.
Right.
People, I just say, please step back a little bit, But again, we're managing this from the outside so that when they walk into our building, the guests might feel very, very comfortable. My team is comfortable. So.
At the very least, your team is conscious and thinking of the circumstances.
Oh,
and
yeah.
being conscientious about it.
At Bakersfield, where you worked, there used
Mm-hmm.
to be 16 seats around that bar. Okay.
Yeah. I remember that.
There are now
6.
4.
Fuck.
Did I say 4 yet?
You said 4.
You did say 4.
Good job.
Mike, do me a favor. Go ahead and throw a fuck in there too.
Fucking 4.
Yes.
Hey, Lauren.
4
I don't want to
seats.
take over the interview, but I gotta ask:
do your thing, Mike.
Has anybody thought about you recreating that scene from E.T. as a sort of like really embracing the idea of the Bubble Boy situation and putting everybody just inside of the scene from E.T., where he's in that giant tent and everybody's wearing the outfits?
I mean, if anyone's
like
going to wear the outfits,
restaurant.
I mean, me. I'm obviously at the forefront of.
Well, this is
Mike, that's a great idea. I mean, but you have to wash that on the inside. If you sneeze into that, what happens?
You keep wearing it till the next shaft. No, Mike, this is a good indicator of why you're in the marketing thing. This is a new concept that might get a lot of traction, where it's just like the absolute sterile environment restaurant where you literally have, tables that are up against these plastic walls with those like scientific hands that reach in for those controlled experiment things, like robotic arms serving your food.
Bubble Boy from Seinfeld, yeah.
There's definitely going to be something in Manhattan very soon. That theme.
If it's not in Manhattan already.
Right. Now, if you go through K-Town at 3:30 in the morning, you're going to find a place like that for sure.
Well, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that's one of the things I've heard. Lauren, there's a lot of people that are very excited about being able to go somewhere, whether there's 4 seats at the bar or whatever the case might be, whether they're required to wear a mask, whether there's people that are very excited to, and it's not like necessarily this like political idea of like, this is bullshit and my freedoms are being infringed upon. We're just social animals and we want to do this shit. We want other people to make our food and have it served to us. We want to be able to sit in a bar and talk about people at the other end of it. It's just,
right.
But
it's a lot of fun now. Yeah.
I mean, shit. There's just no two ways about it. And what you're doing, and what I think a ton of other businesses are doing, and yours included, Mike, is we're learning how to do this. This is the new normal. Yeah. We've got to figure out ways to do this. So like you said, so people feel comfortable so they continue to do these things and the dollars reach a point where it's sustainable.
Just imagine what it was like the last 4 days where it poured down rain at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
Like we were literally, I say literally so funny because of Michael, but, everything, we had all this, everything set up. We had everything worked out. We had reservations. Everything's the sky looks beautiful. We're watching the weather, and then all of a sudden it pours down rain.
Yeah,
Like,
and you've lost your entire outdoor dining room.
We've lost our outdoor dining, and I can't bring him inside.
Right.
Because I can't.
You don't have room.
There's no room, which we did.
And then Jeff Menke shows up with a bus full of people.
Exactly.
Did that happen?
No, he always says, always be prepared for a busload of people to show up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm always prepared at all times, even at my house.
Right.
Oh, you're just ready? You've got like a case by the door that says, in case of Menke bus, break glass.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, one of these shows with us, we've talked about it. But
Jeff's on this weird.
Go ahead.
I'm just just as a quick aside, Jeff's on this weird tirade to try and convince me that Pearl Jam is worth listening to. I'm just like, I want you to understand this is a lost cause. Please spend your energies elsewhere. I don't care. Mike's got a better chance of having me listen to Oasis than Pearl Jam. Honestly. Because Definitely Maybe is a classic, and there isn't a Pearl Jam song I can name that's worth a shit. I'm sorry. That was just for Jeff.
Oasis song. about it.
Did you say you're not about Oasis?
I can't turn an Oasis song off during it because I feel bad that Michael will be mad at me.
No, there's no two ways about it. Definitely Maybe is an amazing record.
Okay.
There's no two ways about it. But Blur's still a better band.
I agree with that.
Seriously? Well,
yeah.
you capitulated way too fucking easily on that one. I was hoping for some comedy gold here.
I mean, he was like 17 when he was obsessed.
I guess that's true.
Emotionally.
I always forget. See, that's the thing. Well, I still am.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the trick. That's the hook there.
You want to hear something crazy? Sometimes I literally forget how long we've all known each other. I mean, it's been like 30 years.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's not go there because let me think about this. I'm about to be 39 next 2 weeks, right?
Okay, so it's only been 25 years.
Yeah. 25.
Yeah.
It's still pretty crazy.
I still remember the day I came to your house with Christina in your house, and you had a toothbrush holder, and I was like crying. Oh, your life is amazing.
You'll have to expand on that. I'm sorry. A toothbrush holder made my life seem amazing.
When you guys, yes, when you and Christina moved in together. Do you want me to expand on this? Because I will.
Sure.
You all moved in together before 5 was born, and you were living in the house where 5 was born, or came home to. And I don't know. I guess I come over for one of your parties, and knowing you as long as I had, and your whole life, and to walk into that house and see I think it was a 1 bathroom at the time.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, Scott, you have a toothbrush holder. Like, I was so happy and proud that your life had, like, that was a big deal for me as a fan.
Well, the thing is, you've just revealed to anyone paying attention that I was clearly an absolute derelict for a long time.
You're bad news.
Where in fact a toothbrush holder was somehow an indication of success.
I think people surmise that. That's the power of that.
Well,
it's like for sale, 2 baby booties never used. It tells a much larger story.
Yes, and if you're smart, you make your own up.
Anyway.
We digress. So Lauren, first week technically a success?
Sure. Yes, it was a huge success, and I think we handled it well, and I think we're all exhausted, and I had 40,000 steps every single day.
Christina was excited about 10 today.
Yeah, it was. we were all of us, the entire team, all of ownership. I mean, everybody was just working like crazy in a good way. I mean, it felt good, but people are slowly coming back to work because it's uncomfortable, and they're freaked out a little bit. And
did you have issues with employees not wanting to come back? Yeah. I mean, without delving too deeply into it. Yeah, I mean,
and there's a million reasons why, and I get all of them, and so we're just trying our hardest to make people feel as comfortable as they can.
Yeah.
But eventually,
I mean, I will also not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say I also won't name names or anything either, but most of the people, I mean, obviously I still know a lot of people in the service industry, and most of the people I know are just like, fuck it, I want to work, I need the money, you know, whatever. But there's a handful of people that aren't comfortable with it for whatever reason, close association with an older relative, small children, whatever the case might be.
Exactly.
And almost every person I know who was in a deciding factor in this was just like, you know, I opened it up to the people that wanted to do it, and they could do it more, and the other people could do it less. And the best we could do is just try and be as flexible as we could about it.
And that's exactly how we have started. And luckily, we're busy, and we're trying to keep it, even with the social distancing and everything. It's going very well for now, and I hope it continues. But we need more people to come back if they can. So.
If it's gonna go. Now, did you experience any of the stupidness that was all over the whole country over the last week? Did you have any issues?
Again, you know, I was so impressed. I've been with these guys forever and ever and ever, obviously. And I'm in operations, and I sit in meetings, and I go into operations, and they thought through so much of this.
I'm sorry, Lauren, how long has it been? It's been like 15 years now, hasn't it?
It's been 8 years since I've been with Thunderdome.
It's only been 8?
Yeah, almost. Wait. Yeah, 8. From Thunderdome.
Just Thunderdome.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry.
But see, for some reason I thought you guys had been around longer than that for whatever reason. For some reason I thought it was right after 2000, but never mind. Sorry.
It's 2011, right? 2012?
2012, yeah.
Well, of course you know Mike. You're her brother.
That was a hazy period.
Yeah.
If she didn't live with me for like a couple of months.
Oh, yeah. Michael and I had to live together.
That was fun.
I moved back to Cincinnati to open Bakersfield. We lived together, and
oh, that's right. You know what?
Bad.
No, I'm sure it was.
It wasn't.
Did you say it was horrible?
You know, we're
remember
brother,
I'm married.
Yeah, we're brother and sister, and I was a vegetarian at the time, and I wanted one little drawer in the refrigerator, and he was very upset about that. It was just a brother-sister situation.
No, she was freaked out that the meat that I had somewhere in the fridge was going to drip on her vegetables.
Yes.
Which was pretty unlikely, right?
I had in Portland.
She's like, I compartmentalize.
I mean, every time I defrost meat, the first thing I do is put it in the same drawer as the vegetables.
Yeah, I just lay it out in the
Portland.
I'm sorry. I'm being absolutely stupid because that's right. You were still out west in 08, 09, yeah?
Yeah, I was out west when Obama became president.
Right. That's right. And I was thinking about that. You know what's it's funny that my randomizer today, I was listening to music, and a song from Portugal the Man's Church Mouth record came on, which you turned me on to at that time.
Yes.
You know, and they ended up being big hit wonders with their what was the name of that song? You know this band Portugal the Man, Mike?
They did a cover of Don't Look Back in Anger.
They did. I've actually heard that. It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's real powerful. But you know what's funny is they had a big hit with this, like I'm a rebel just for kicks, y'all, or whatever the song is. You know the song?
That's right.
Yeah. But the thing is, this Church Mouth record that Lauren sent me back in 08 or whenever it was is raucous. It's It's really, really good. So if you have an opportunity, this is a little plug. Portugal the Man was a really good band. It's called Church Mouth. It's a great record.
Yeah.
Sounds right up your alley.
Yeah, it was totally right up my alley. It really was, even with the falsetto vocals and everything. Mike, if so your Pledge Ohio thing's ongoing, yes?
Yeah, it's rolling. I mean, it was just the first week of campaign. We're just trying to, look. When I look, I go to a store, like I went to gym, somewhere today, and it's just kind of annoying that people are just like, it's a political stand, and it's like, well, let's channel that energy.
It sucks that it's a political stand. It just it makes no fucking sense to me.
Well, no,
that this is a political
exactly
thing
the politics now. They used to say about women, the personal is political, and I mean that's just politics. Now.
Yeah,
I mean, it always has been. It was never about women. It was about everything's personal.
I mean, everything is personal, but conversely, I don't think everything has to be political. But I mean, we've reached a point in this country where there's no two ways about it. It's just like, yeah, I mean, you guys are both relatively attuned and relatively deep thinkers. I had someone suggest to me a few weeks ago that I should change the whole format of this thing And the whole goal of this thing would be to try and find a way that we can actually have discourse in this country, because the biggest failing of the United States right now is that people are incapable of speaking to each other. We've got these two camps, and there's no crossover, and there's nobody budging an inch, and subsequently nothing's getting done, and things keep getting more fucked up. And so, but and I'm sorry, that was a personal tangent.
No, but I don't know if that's a wrong thought. I mean, I think that's a good thought.
I think it's legitimate, right or wrong. I mean,
it's interesting to look at people that you care about and who don't agree with you, and to say, like, can you explain this to me? And I have a person on my staff who's a flat earther, and I'm like, can you just talk to me? Like, can you just tell me? And someone was like, well, that was so open. I'm like, I just have to understand. Like, I just need you to I just need to let you speak so that I can understand.
Or try and understand. I can't understand flat earthing. I don't understand. I mean, if you
just try, right?
Actually, Copernicus went to the same undergrad that my wife went to. That's true.
And it's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
I know, that's the awesome thing about it.
But no, I was just going to say, if you can buy a drone now that'll go high enough where you can see on your cell phone the curvature of the fucking earth. So, I mean,
it's emotional.
When you like work around someone, you're like, oh, really? Can you just talk to me? Like, instead of being like, you're an idiot, can we just talk and let each other speak so that we can at least try to understand? Not that, I don't know.
You know what's funny is the conversation we had about my meat dripping on your vegetables was the perfect parallel to these conversations, because it's very emotional, it's very raw, and very often has nothing to do with, I mean, it's just not a logical situation.
Yeah. And
I think it's a great band name, My Meat Dripping on Your Vegetables.
It's at least a great song title, one way or the other. I mean,
you got to see what's good. That's about for sure.
I
got to buy this album.
You could swing it any way you can. I mean, you could say, "Has my meat dripped on your vegetable?" I mean, there's lots of things you can do with that. But no, you're right. There's so much high emotion attached to so many things right now, and a lot of it's being fueled and carefully cultivated. But there's also this weird kind of like dismissal of fact, this weird like anti-intellectualism thing that's been my biggest concern of the last few years. And it just seems to keep escalating. It's just like this whole idea that your emotion is somehow a trump card for facts it's a really dangerous circumstance that we're in as a society, where people can just like dismiss actual proven circumstances, like the fact that the earth isn't flat. And and I admire greatly your thought process on, I want to understand, but and when it comes to dismissal of accepted proven fact, I'm beyond the point of wanting to understand. Well, I mean, I guess what I want to understand is how you got to this place where you can do that, where you can just be like, even though I see it before my eyes and it's been proven a million times, it doesn't fit in my thought process, so fuck it. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand how we've gotten to this point. I really don't.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to understand.
It's part of the human thing. We need to shit on each other. And I hope that's the last thing that gets recorded.
It's pretty close. I'm down to 1 minute. Thank you guys so much. I deliberately used the free Zoom because I feel like nobody wants to hear anybody talk for more than 40 minutes. But this was a great one. We could have gone on forever. You guys will do it again, right?
Yeah, of course.
Anytime.
Lauren, say something else so people can see that. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm just playing. I
love you. I love you both.
Love you too, Scotty. And Scotty, I brought my wife on our second date to come see you at the Quarter, but you weren't working there anymore.
Oh man.
And I brought many dates to come see you.
Yeah, you did. You were just like, what do you think? And most of the time I was like, sure, I don't know. Fuck.